Let me get this going. Okay, so tonight's class is, it was posted a little bit late, so sorry, but obviously we're going to continue to do classes on Thursday unless otherwise noted. And even when convention's going on and the cruise in a couple weeks, you know, we have people that will be doing the classes during that time. So,
she's so healthy. Felt like it might have been a mistake. She knew it wasn't.
Okay, I think I just got everyone muted. Okay, so we'll have someone who's always taking over the classes unless otherwise noted. And today we're going to be going over road bumps that we may face along the way. And anyone who wants to participate in this, you could write something in the chat. And we can address those issues. If you want to unmute yourself, then you're more than welcome to do so. And everyone has their own different obstacles and their own issues in life, from, you know, what you grew up with, or maybe children or a spouse. I think my kids, not that they've truly given me complexes, but if anyone's giving more of a complex than anybody, it'd be my children, because, you know, when they're younger, you know, they just speak the truth. They're like, Mom, you know, isn't it men who just have a mustache? I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, why are you saying this to me? And then, you know, they just say all these things. And one time, my little one, Austin, when he was little, he said, well, I had told him once that it was time for him to take a nap. And my excuse was because he had red lines in his eyes and he was tired. And so one time he told me I need to take a nap, and I said, why is that? And he said, we have these red lines in the back of your leg. I was like, he said, your legs must be tired. I was like, oh my goodness. I had no idea I had like varicose veins. I asked my husband, he said, yeah. And I said, why didn't you ever tell me? He said, why do you want to know? I'm just like, okay, well, whatever. So those are just sort of funny, whatever things. But sometimes what people say to us as we're growing up, or what we've heard, or we try to compare ourselves to others, then it really can put, you know, a little damage in our spirit to be able to go out and, I believe, do what the Lord's called us to do, or whatever you feel that you should be doing in life. So really trying to figure out, why do we have some of these issues? What are the issues that can come up? And basically, how can we get rid of them? So I'm really excited. If you have my book, and if you don't, then I can, you can PM me and I'll message you this section of it. But it's page 148, and it's called Stop Stressing. And it really goes over some great ways that you can be proactive with addressing your fears and stress issues. And I know that we can do emotional release, and I know there's AFT and all these different kinds of things, and I believe in them totally. But what I do feel is that we do need to learn new coping mechanisms and learn how to be responsible for these things, because most likely the crap is going to hit the fan at some point again in life. And if we haven't learned new coping mechanisms of how to deal with it, then we're going to be back at the same spot. And then we got to do all that process over again, right? So it's just better to learn new ways to deal with things, really doing our best to move forward and so forth. When something, as we're learning, of course, we're going to stumble, and all of us are human. So we're going to always have issues in life, but you want to try to address them as soon as possible. So if you're already mad about a situation, you know, and it's been 5 minutes, okay, but let's not try to go to 10 minutes, you know, and let's definitely not try to go, you know, for an hour or a day or 2 days or a month or 6 months with these issues that we're having in life. So we really want to try to get to the root cause of the problem and address it. When it comes to, you know, our businesses and being independent distributors or multi-level marketers, you know, there's so many different things that go along with that. I mean, you really have to have the dedication to get up and do what you need to do yourself that day. You have to have the perseverance for that. You have to find a way to really not struggle with procrastination. And well, sorry about that. With procrastination, and you know, usually have an accountability partner to keep you on track with what your goals are and what you say you're going to do. Because if you don't sort of announce it to the world or to family and friends or people you value, their opinions, then it's going to be easy to fall back on. So if you're going to stop smoking, for example, then you should let everyone know so that they can help you in that quest to do so. And if you find someone's giving you a cigarette, then you should drop them like a hot potato, right? Because they're not going to be aiding you or helping you in these situations. So, okay. So this is from the Propel book, and I'm just going to go through this a little bit and some of my own experiences. And please, once again, if you have something, then please jump in with that as well. And let me just go through here real quick. Okay, so the Propel book on page 42, if you have this, this is really a great book to go through and try to figure things out. So it says excuses. It says, what's the main excuses? It's like, I'm just gonna read what she says. It says, I don't have the same personality type as my upline or crossline or downline. I'm not a dominant leader. Let's see. I live in a small town and I already have a saturated market, which is definitely not true, always. I just moved. I have no builders. My builders expect too much from me. I don't have a social media following. I don't know how to do social media. All these different kinds of things, there are ways around, and it depends on if we really want something, because if you really want something in life, you definitely will find a way to get it, whether it's some shoes, a purse, a horse, send your kids to camp, whatever it is. So this is where you really can find out what you're made of and what you really want in life, and whatever you want, you should really go forth and do it. If you struggle with learning how to operate a computer or social media, then take a class. It's like we have to be proactive in trying to figure out our struggles. But the first thing is really figuring out, like, what are our excuses? I know people that do not want to pursue Young Living as a business because they don't want to make money for their upline. And it's like, okay, well, you're talking about, how many uplines are there? I know we had to figure it out one time, but I think I'm like 100 and, like 90 down from the level underneath, the main level, right? I got so many uplines, and how many have I heard from? Only a handful, right? And whether we like our upline or not, it's really irrelevant. Like my upline, I love her to pieces. Her name is Barb Morris. I know she's not on this call, but when she hears this, she'll, she never likes when I mention her name, but that's something she's got to work on, because I love mentioning her name, because if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I ever would have learned about the oils or been receptive. Like everything lined up sort of perfectly, because I learned about chemicals and oils in the same day. But if my son didn't get hurt, and I carried him on my back to their house, because when I was camping at the head cabin house, then she said she was never going to tell me about the oils. So it just happened to be that he got hurt, and I waited for 2 hours before I even carried that kid down there. And, it was such a blessing, and it was all in perfect timing. And because of that, I'm always extremely thankful. Now, this will not be a surprise to Barb, and I mean no disrespect by this, but Barb has had the busiest life in the universe, okay? If you guys just knew her story and what she deals with on a regular basis for the last 12 years that I've known her, if she has any extra time, I would want her to go stare at some trees or her legs or paint her toenails or do something, okay? Because she does not have any free time at all, and she is just strapped on a regular basis. And Barb has not been there for me as a upline leader or a teacher, but nevertheless, I'm very excited that she's taught me about the oils, and it was her that introduced me to the oils, and so for that, I am forever grateful. And I'm also the kind of personality is that I will go do what I need to do to figure out what I want to do. I did not wait for someone to tell me how to use peppermint. I put 5 or 6 drops in like 10-ounce water bottle, and then I had steam coming on my ears, and I don't know. I didn't blink a whole trip on the way to Ohio for 5 hours. So it worked out perfect. But, like to go and experience things. And so part of this is different personalities in life and how we like to do things. I'm a very direct, hopefully non-BS kind of person. And I believe that we can say whatever we want to say with love and the right intent. If your intent is of malice or harm, then you're not doing things for the right intent and it won't be honored anyhow. But if you can speak directly and honestly with someone with the right heart, the right intent, and the motives, then I think that things will be better received, and also you can have resolution with people and then learn each other and then move forward. Because most problems that we have are going to be miscommunication. So when it comes to our excuses, sometimes these can be miscommunications as well because of what someone else has said or done to us, that then we have this stuck in our brain that we can't do something, or we make excuses. One thing I was told when I first signed up is that the church is not going to like the oils, and it's a multi-level marketing business. And I didn't even know what an MLM was. And, I set forth for the first couple of years, like sort of in hiding, but loving the oils, but afraid about repercussions from having people know what I was using and doing, even though with the great benefits that I was receiving in my family. So, it's hard to, it's a hard battle sometimes. Once again, finding out the root causes of our excuses. Another issue, and maybe I think this was sort of because of my book, but it says checking our ego. Most people do not want people to tell them what to do or how to do something. Everyone thinks they know how to do things perfectly in the right way, in their way. And sometimes it's possible I could have a better way out of experience. But nevertheless, when I'm teaching my team, if they want to do it their own way or whatever, then I will give my thoughts or expressions of how I've seen it done, and then they can go do what they want. But if I govern what they are to do or not to do, then how am I letting them be their person and learning for themselves and owning their own business and having fun with it? For people who know me, I can joke and I like to make people laugh, but I'm definitely not a blue personality unless I'm like on stage trying to make jokes, right? Otherwise, I'm a red, a yellow, right? So I got like 4 different personalities by colors, right? And I got a lot of green too, so I'm like sort of mixed up all over here. But it sort of depends on the situation. But I like direct, straightforward, bullet point, honesty. Like when I talk to someone, like I have to be aware of who I'm calling. And if I'm calling someone who's like a straight, like blue, then, they're all bubbly. I'm not really a bubbly personality. I can try to be, but that's just not me. So I have to make sure I call them with my puppy voice, I call it. So that's like, oh my gosh, I can see Robin walking. So I was like, oh my gosh, Robin, how are you doing today? It's such a beautiful day. And it's not that I don't mean that or not being sincere, but a lot of times when I call people, it's like, hey, did you get that done? Or how's it going with this? Or I need this, or whatever the case is. And so I don't have that in between little sugar coating kind of thing. And there's certain people you can do that with and certain that you can't. So you learn that along the way, because of course I don't want to be offense to somebody, and it's truly never my intent. But if you have a straight blue personality, they're like, they don't think you love them or that they're mad at them if you don't, talk sweet up front, some sugar talk, right? So then that can create a little bit of an issue. There was a young lady on my team who posted something, and I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was a scheduled post. But anyhow, it said frankincense cures, whatever, depression, this, that, and while all those things could possibly be true, we can't say those kind of things anymore. So when I call, as soon as I saw it, I was like, so I called her right away, and I said, hey, I love your post, but this is like totally non-compliant. So what we got to just do is go in there and switch that, change that verbiage, find another image, do whatever they got to do. It's fantastic information, but this is just something we can't post at this time. But if I went and called her and I said, hey, oh my gosh, what did you do? This is like so stupid, whatever, then she's going to feel like, I'm coming down on her, that she's not worthy, that, she should never post again, all these different kinds of things. One of my other girlfriends, she was a new sign up, and she actually works at a hospital, but she hasn't used prescription medicines forever or over-the-counter medicines. And she posted some things about how, she'll use the oil any day over going to a doctor or a hospital for the rest of her life. And I was like, whoa, you can't say that. So, you call with love, with directness, and depending on the person is, just let them know what's going on, so that then they don't have a negative thing thinking, well, they can't post, or they can't do this, or they can't speak. And most of us have had people in our lives, whether it's prior to Young Living or even during Young Living, who has made it where we didn't feel like we were competent to move forward. And it really can keep a little stumbling block in our head. And it's like, if that's the case, you just got to I would just love, I gotta find a piece of scrap paper. I would love for you to seriously write that on a piece of paper, all your traumas here, right, in life, and that do not line up, I believe, with the Word of God. And you just go like this, and you crumple it, and then you throw it in the trash can, okay? Or you hit the delete button. It's like, we should not be absorbing these things, because you were designed for greatness, and we need to be able to move forward and do what we feel that we've been called to do to help people. Young Living is a business, but I look at it as much more than a business. This is my way to share with people personally about Jesus, about health, nutrition, chemical awareness, the benefits of natural medicine, why we want to choose this over this. And it's a body, mind, and spirit for me. And so I take my job, seriously, and all of that. So I don't look at it just as a business, because if I looked at it just as a business, I could definitely have made a different rank right now. I should be actually more business sense than I am or have been, because, I never went to school for business. I didn't have any experience in that, and I wasn't really skilled in knowing how to do certain things. One thing I'm very thankful for this group with Team Transformation is that, and Amanda specifically in this, is she definitely has a different way of doing things when it comes to business that most of us have not been used to or trained with. Hasn't sunk in or stuck with us. And so really learning new concepts of how to help people move forward, and with Young Living's motto, which is, wellness, abundance, and purpose. And it's truly possible. But back to the ego, if we get offended easily or hurt when our downlines don't listen to us, that's your problem, not theirs. And we should not be putting our issues on them. They need to grow and learn just like we grew and learned. And some people are very stubborn and hard-headed, and I am definitely one of those people that someone can give me their advice and I may follow it or not follow it. But when I learn on my own, and sometimes I have to learn the hard way, I definitely learn after that. So, some people are just different. If you tell my husband not to touch this wall because I don't want it dirty, or your hand could blow up, or it's possible, whatever, he would literally never touch it. Okay, he's a rule follower, and he would listen like that. And he wants to hear the experiences so then he can make an educated decision prior to doing something, right? If someone tells me not to touch this wall, I have to use every muscle in my brain and body and wherever to prevent myself from wanting to touch it, because I am more of a rule breaker. Now, it's not like I want to be and I try to be, it's just innately in me. And so I have to really be aware of that. And so I have to be aware of how I take things in and how people receive them, and vice versa. If you get offended, this is an ego thing. When you don't get the recognition that you feel that you deserve in something. And that's hard for people. I really don't care about recognition so much, but I know that, both of my children, they do. And of course, there's a lot of adults who do. And that's not necessarily bad if someone wants recognition for something. But if you get all down if someone doesn't thank you about it, and it creates a stumbling block for you for moving forward, and like, oh, well, I'm not going to ever help them again or do this or do that, then to me, that's a problem. It's like, my opinion is our first goal is to always help somebody else and put other people before ourselves. And I believe we should put ourselves first and take care of ourselves and get sleep and oxygen and nutrition. And I believe a relationship with the Lord, but that's like in that time. But I believe in serving others before me, but that's part of my love language is serving others. So it's hard. I've been humbleized 3 times. That's what I call it, being humbleized. So I never plan to be humbleized again. The last time was like 6 years ago, but maybe a little bit longer than that. And that was more to do about my book than anything. But otherwise, we have to let our ego and our pride go and really just put other people first and help other people. Let's see. Something that, when you do receive a negative comment from someone, you may want to hear it and you may not, and you may agree and you may not. So if you don't agree, then like I always ask my husband and my son, or like a really good friend, I'll say, someone said this, do you think this lines up? Is there validation this? Or is this because someone else's problem or jealousy issues or whatever? And they tell me whatever they think. And if it's something like, no, you really do have a problem with that, then personally, I love change. So then I'll write it on a sticky note or a 3x5 card, and I stick it and I read it every day until that new change or value or whatever I'm trying to do is like becomes part of me, because I do want to be the best person possible. None of us are perfect. So if you're striving for that, good luck. But, I do want to, when someone brings something to my attention, try to improve upon myself and become better as a human, as a mother, as a wife, as a leader, whatever the case is. And I love this thought process. We did this a couple of years ago at convention. They had us write this list down, and I challenge you to go home and do this, or do it when you have a minute, and write down what you want in your upline leader. If you had the best leader in the universe, right, what would that look like to you? And write down the list of everything. Okay, so then you do all that, you get it all written perfectly in little sentences, type it up, do whatever you got to do. And then what you got to do is go down and make a checklist and see where you are at in this list. So now you got the best leader list ever of what you want in a leader. Where do you stand in this list? Do you measure up to your own standards of what you want in a leader? And if you are a leader currently, then you need to look at that and then see where you can improve upon yourself in. I know, for example, one of my biggest faults in this business, and it's just awful, and I'm trying to get past it, but I have not been successful yet, and that is responding in a timely manner. I promise you, I don't have like your emails just sitting here and like, oh, I don't feel like answering her today, and I don't feel like doing this and whatever. It's like I literally work like 16 hours a day doing something in regard to health, nutrition, chemicals, oils, whatever it is. But I have to get a better system, because one of the biggest things I don't like personally is I don't like not being able to rely or depend on somebody. And I don't like that personally, so I surely wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to do that to somebody else, but I know that I do on a regular basis. So that's something that eats at me on a regular basis, but I have not been able to keep up or catch up on my messages, and there's just too many. So I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but that's something that's my struggle that I really need to work on, so that I can become a better person and a leader and be dependable for people who are relying or looking up to me in situations. So that is a constant struggle, but yet a goal that I prayerfully can be successful at one day. So once again, writing down your best leader list and then seeing where you measure up as well, so you can be the best that you want out of all of this as well, and your upline can look up to you the way that you want to look up to your upline, and then measure yourself on that. Also being grateful, like seriously, like with Barb again, you know, I'm just so grateful that she's brought me into the place to learn about these oils and sign me up. Whether she helps me or not is totally irrelevant to me, because I will make it work because it's something I want. Now, of course, it's always fun to have a partner and go work with somebody. But if you were an orphan that signed up and you don't have an upline, or your upline doesn't help you, or you're best friends with a cross line, and all of us have these kind of things going on. Like, sometimes I wish we had, like, if you guys know about the NFL, when they do the draft every year, I wish we had a draft for Young Living. I'm like, I'll take you, and you, and oh my gosh, could you imagine having like your perfect friend team? I mean, that would be awesome. But at the same time, we still all can help and support each other no matter where each other's at. And if you have a grievance with somebody, you really got to try to be straightforward and address it with people. And if that doesn't work, then you need to continue up the chain of command of, you know, getting with leaders and then so forth, because, you know, this is our own independent distributorship and our own independent business. So there's two parts of that. One is we should be able to run it how we run it, want to run it, and how to do it and how we feel. And at the same time, we have to be respectful to the people in our downline, and recognize who they are and what they want and what they like as well. And it's all like a sort of a gentle balance. But there's like so much going on with so many people who are just like the entitlement. And, you know, there's a lot going on lately with rude and obnoxious and dishonest practices sometimes, that it's like we really need to look at ourselves and say, am I really here to help serve others and help them grow, and then in return we all can grow? Or am I being sort of selfish in it and I just want what I want? That part doesn't really line up with me at all. But we are our own boss, okay? And so if you do have a problem with something, just do what you're going to do all on your own, you know, or get other help from somebody. But you don't have to. We don't want anyone, and this has happened to me in the past, you know, no one, whether family, friends, cross-line, upline, downline, should be a stumbling block for us where we don't go and do what we want to do in life and help people, or just in this world. It doesn't even have to be with Young Living in this business. You know, we should not let other people take away our joy and our passion. Let's see. So be the leader you desire. I love that. Let's see. You're never going to please everybody, okay? So there's always going to be someone who's a hater or jealous or whatever. And so that's just sort of what that is. And preferably you don't have that many or none at all, because that would be the best choice. But it is possible. Okay, next is chasing rabbits. This is a roadblock big time. I mean, there's so many great products out there. I know someone who does chocolate, Young Living, the Biomat, the Beamer, seasonings. I mean, the list just goes on, okay? You cannot do all of those effectively, number one. You can't, you know, when you approach somebody with 20 different business opportunities, you now turn this into a sales opportunity instead of, like, in my opinion, like caring for people and what they're doing. I have some other MLMs that I like, and I have one where someone's in it and I say, hey, if you want some of this, go see this person. It's like, I can't be involved in something else. Like, my main focus in business is health and nutrition and chemical awareness, and via Young Living essential oils. That is my main focus. And because of that, I can be successful. But when you try to add too many different things in, it just doesn't work. Some people feel disconnected, left out. And then, you know, really what's your goal and your focus? Now, if one of your leaders does that, in all reality, what does it have to do with you and your business? Because we shouldn't have to look to our upline for our own business. Although if you have that opportunity, that's fantastic. Okay. But there's a lot of people who don't, who rely too much on their upline leader, and then because of their lack of interest or doing or not doing or attitudes or behaviors, then they don't move forward. And once again, I have struggled with that myself, so I'm not saying anything, I'm not trying to preach to you on this, but luckily I'm in a place where I realize, understand, agree that's like, you know, why, you know, that's all that's doing is hurting myself, my friends, and my family, you know. So it's not a good thing to do. Yeah, and Robin said if you chase too many rabbits, you're going to lose both of them or all of them. And, you know, then you start getting to a place where there's two people I know that when they call, I know what they're calling for. They got something new they're doing. You know, they're like, oh, I got a great opportunity. I was like, I'm already overfilled with the one I got already. I was like, I can't take on another opportunity, you know, unless you're giving me some free dark chocolate. And that's the other thing, the chocolate company, I forgot the name of it, but their flavored chocolate had artificial sweetener and MSG in it. They didn't even check it out. So, you know, I wasn't happy with that one. But anyhow, serial network markers. Oh, how funny. That is funny. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, it says antidotes for chasing rabbits. Trust in the process. You know, gosh, people have excelled at these ranks so fast. And it's like, if we only knew what we know now back in the day when social media first started, oh my gosh, it would be amazing, right? So it does, Young Living, you know, we are not just selling like, you know, do you want, you know, couch spray for your leather couch, or I don't even know what to say here. You know, a biomat, right? A biomat is something you purchase, you put somewhere and you can lay on, right? That's easy peasy. You don't even have to think about it. Just turn it on and lay on it, right? Young Living, what we promote here is a lifestyle change, you know, getting rid of the chemicals, adding this to your diet, you know, all this kind of stuff. So this is not necessarily, this is usually for people who have an issue, who are serious. They got to make a lifestyle change for whatever reason. And it's not easy work. It wasn't easy for me. And I don't know if it was totally easy for anyone on here, but it's not an easy job up front. But I know, like for me, it was really hard work for the first 6 years. And I built that to an organization that has been able to bless me ever since. And so this is what we're talking about. It's like, you know, multi-level marketing. This is willable income. This is residual income. So you do have to work hard up front, but there's a payoff in the end. And for those who know me or my situation or whatever, seriously, for like 4 years, you know, I did what I needed to do. I would go teach. I would help my team who asked for it, but I was not as present as I was prior to that. And I've been in Young Living for 12 years. So part of it was being burnt out, and part of it was, you know, family issues. And when you have someone come live with you, or, you know, other issues going on, it just wasn't easy to do everything that needed to be done. But the blessing of all of this is, you know, I was still receiving a check for all the hard work and time and energy I put into it prior to this. And it was not all by me, obviously. This is, you know, my downline and what they do. I don't know everyone in my downline. I did not enroll everyone in my downline, obviously. So it's not all on my behalf, but what I did put into it in the beginning has helped sustain our family over these years, which is totally amazing. And, you know, 12 years ago, like I have 3 people in my downline who are my front line. They're all in their, you know, 70s. And they want to be retired, which is sort of a hard hit in a sense, because, you know, who's the leader who's going to help those lines? But at the same time, it's like, you know, at what point can they enjoy life and relax and go do what they want to do, right? And so they have built an organization. And so something I'm really thankful for is having something, and you guys may have your own as well, but something where really team transformation, there's a lot of information on there, and diamond makers, and then the new one we're going to talk about in a little bit. But having these opportunities to put people into these groups where they can learn and not always rely on us as maybe their enroller or sponsor, whatever the case may be, for all their questions and answers. And it's sort of hard for some of us maybe to remember what it was like when we first signed up, 5, 10, 20, or however many years ago, right? And I remember I used to call my uplines like all day long, like, what about this? What about this? And they're like, look in the book, look in the book. And I was like, I just want to know the answer. It's just like excitement and new and unsure and all these different kinds of things. So populating our people into these resources will have them in there for a lifetime of training and education by whomever. And we don't have to be as responsible for it. So I told some of my upline leaders, like the 3 who are really not participating anymore, my front line, and I said, let's just make sure we get your people in here so that you don't have to try to call them or keep up with them daily or whatever. When you only have 20 people in your group, it's still adjustment to get used to calling that many people. But when you have 3,000 or 6 or 10,000 or more, it's like, it's pretty much impossible. And so, trying to find these ways to communicate through texting and social media should be able to really help us out greatly. Okay, this is my favorite thing ever. I learned about this at Diamond Bound. And she said, are you coachable? The first question is, are you trainable? And everyone says they're trainable, right? But really, you're only trainable if you like and respect the person you think there's been someplace that you want to be most of the time, okay? I personally think I can learn from anybody. And I don't feel like I'm better than anybody. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I would never talk, if I have, then please forgive me and let me know. But talking down to somebody, and you always talk at someone at their level of whatever it is, of education, of social, of a doctor or this person. Everyone should be treated the same with respect. But the question is are you trainable? And most people say yes to this question. And I love what they came up with a different word. It says, are you coachable? Someone who's coachable is willing to listen, truly listen to what someone says and have them critique them. So if you really feel that you're coachable, then when you write down a list of what you think you are as a leader, right? And you write that list down, all the qualities, and then you give that to some of your downline, if you're going to not be pissed about it when they give you an answer, okay? And you give it to them and say, can you please grade me on this? A 1 through a 10. 10, I'm awesome. 1, I'm not. And where would you grade me at this? If you did that with me and you said punctuality of getting back to returning calls or material, I'm pretty sure I'd be a low number. So that hurts to hear that, but I know it's true. Okay, so that's something I have to deal with, and that's my fault. It's not their fault. If they say that they feel that I'm constantly jealous and this and that and whatever, then I need to look at. And that's where, if I don't believe that personally, that's where I have to ask my peers and make sure it's not a conflict with that person specifically, or if they think that about everybody. But yeah, if someone says that, I need to look at myself and see if that's what the case is. And so that's when you know that you're totally coachable, when you can have someone critique you and you heed to what they're saying and really look into it and see if that information is constructive criticism that you need to look at to make a change in your life. So that's a little bit of a hard one. Not everyone wants to do that. But that, to me, is the goal. The next thing is comparisons. It's like, it's sort of hard. Like, you should never compare yourself to somebody else because you never, if I compared myself to, I don't know, some supermodel, I'm going to be, disappointed if I think that's the only way you can look and that's the only thing that looks good. Okay. I cannot tell you that the fat roll in my stomach looks good. Maybe my butt does. It's pretty big. If you like big butts, maybe be okay, right? But pretty sure that no one says, hey, that big stomach looks really hot. You know, it looks good. So if I compare myself to someone in looks and in fashion and the houses and cars and all that kind of stuff, you're living up to, you know, trying to be like the Joneses, right? I do not believe in that at all. And of course, we're human, so we're going to do it to some extent. But really, if we're trying to measure up to somebody else, most likely we're not going to be successful in whatever that is, because most people cannot measure up to everybody. I mean, it's just impossible, and we shouldn't be trying. We should be ourselves. But when you do have the opportunity to compare yourself to others in the sense of, you know, what they have, and if you, how do you say this? You can compare. It's healthy to compare yourselves if you can do it in the right way, where you're not trying to be like them and be them, but you're trying to use what they've been able to do as an encouragement to yourself to be able to move forward and have the same kind of opportunities. I don't like to use the word jealous, because we should never be jealous, right? But envious, jealous, whatever you want to call it, I desire to be able to be a crown diamond, a royal crown diamond, for the sole purpose of being able to fund or pay off our debt, which in that case, it wouldn't be that hard to do at that point. But to help people in need, provide opportunities for people for education and jobs. Steve and I have a plan for scholarships, and then create nonprofit organizations where you can find people who are truly in need and have the desire to help themselves and just don't have the opportunity. I mean, to me, that's just very exciting. And, you know, maybe that sounds good to you, maybe it doesn't. And if that doesn't float your boat, that's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't have to float your boat. That's just me and what I would like to do with it. So when I see that someone's got to create an organization or go do this or help with this, like, you know, next year I really want to go to Uganda and help with the jiggers and with the sex trafficking. Like, that's a serious goal. I don't care if there's a hotel. I don't care if I sleep on the ground. If they got spiders and stuff, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a net around me. I'm going to make a net around me or something, because I don't like that kind of stuff. But I want to go do that kind of stuff. I want to give my time, my money, my oils, my resources, whatever I have available to help others in need and make a better life for people. So when I see all the people who are going this year and I couldn't go, I was just like, it makes me mad that I don't have the financial freedom yet to go. So that is something I have a picture of up here that is like, you know, if you want to talk about dream boards and vision boards, that's my vision board of being able to go do what I want to do. Okay. So in that case, for me, the comparison is good. You got to know your value. You have to know your strengths and your vision and your goal. You know, it's very important to know these things. You know I have value. I may not be perfect in everyone's eyes or nearly that way. And I may not measure up to everyone over here, or I may not be in this clique over here or whatever, but I don't care, because I know my value. And that is the most important thing that any of us on this phone call can know: your value, have your self-worth, your self-esteem. And if you feel like you struggle in any of those areas for any reason, then you really got to write down and find out the root cause of the problem. And then let's talk about it and figure out how and why we can get over it. And prayerfully, it can be overnight, because nothing that someone has said to you that does not line up with either, for you, logic or the word of God, you should not keep in your head and dwell and think on. It just shouldn't be there. So, let's see. So I hope you really can hear that. Let's see. And then once again, you just get back on track as quick as possible. Let's see. Okay. I don't even know what time it is. Let me see here. 8:50. Okay, does anyone have any questions or thoughts on this or this is a leadership call, and I know there's all different ranks on here, but does anyone have any struggles that you want to go over? Part of all this is being vulnerable to things, and I really don't believe that you should have anything hidden in the closet or underneath the rug, right? When you do, that's when your fear is creeping and you're afraid that someone can find out about it. And then that's where people don't want to move forward because they're afraid that someone knows about it. I don't care what someone knows about me or my family, because if I am afraid of it, then that's when, to me, Satan will hold me back and not have me move forward. So back in the day, for those knows, when my son was doing drugs and alcohol, and of course I don't line up with any of that stuff, I didn't hide it and put it underneath the rug. I'm like, no, my son needs prayer. I was like, hello, anyone who wants to help out, let's go, because he needs some help. But there's a lot of people I know who don't want people to know their business because they're embarrassed by it. And so, they don't want, they don't share anything. So I feel that's unfortunate, because then we just are bound up by fear and anger and resentment and, the pressure of what people are going to think about us and if they're going to like us still. If you don't like me, I care and it hurts my feelings a little bit because I don't think it's probably going to be warranted. But if you truly don't like me, that's on you. If that's your problem, not my problem. And if I've done something to offend somebody, I definitely want to know so that I can try to make amends, because that would, generally speaking, not be my intent. Okay. But if truly you have a problem and it's not warranted, all I can do is pray for you that you learn what the truth is and you get over yourself. So that's how I feel. And of course, I think I'm right in that. So, but we just shouldn't hold on to these issues. All of us have been told that we're not good enough. We're not stupid. We may not be, have enough fat on us. We may have too much fat on us, whatever it is. I've apologized to my kids for the things that I've done wrong. And, my husband, my family, my whatever. So biggest thing is not judging other people on our own value and moral standards, because if we do, we'll always be disappointed. And, but being aware of people and how they are so that we don't get disappointed when we deal with them, because if they don't line up with us, then it always is a frustration. But if you know that and they've been that way all their life, then why would you expect something different? So then we have to learn that. And so we're not setting ourselves up to fail. Oh, this is great. Bailey had a member that she got plugged into the team transformation, and she saw one of Julie Callahan's videos on why. And because of that, the young lady wanted to get back rolling with Thieves and Ninja Red. And it wasn't even something that Bailey had to hear. And, for the downline that I have, I know my downline, the majority of them love me and value what I say. But I'm sure people want to hear what other people have to say as well, right? And so you get a different perspective, and I don't know everything, but I only know what I know. And I think I've said this before here, but my aunt one time, she's like, oh my gosh, orange oil works so good. I don't know how I can say this compliantly. I think I can say, orange oil works if you have a cough, okay? I'm like, you're kidding me. That doesn't even make any sense to me. Like, orange oil, really? That sounds crazy. But we know that there's some other ones that, when I'm in Canada, we, clove oil, right? Clove oil works great for a cough. But so now if someone has a cough, I always have Copaiba, Vitality, of course, orange and clove. I got to learn something new. So we can learn so much from other people and how to do things. And, when you're asking questions and advice, are you asking these things to, when you're asking uplines and crosslines about, ideas or thoughts or suggestions or what to do about situations, are you talking to be heard and have people give you, sympathy and all that kind of stuff? Or are you really asking so you can get resolution and move forward? Because when there's problems or situations that we have, we really want to try to move forward as fast as possible, in a way that would be pleasing to everybody. And of course, number one, because we're working with Young Living and putting Young Living in the best light, so that someone does not look down upon Young Living because of what our actions are. That's really important. But okay, I feel like I'm rambling now. You can unmute yourself if you like, and if you have anything to say, or you can say it in the chat. I'm sure someone wants to say something.
Well, Stace, you said to be vulnerable, and I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I can remember doing an AFT, about a month ago, and it came to my mind that I remember being, like, when I was thin, I didn't have as many friends. It's like there were haters, and it's like as soon as I got chubby, like it just seemed like more, and the same thing went with like success in Young Living. It's like it feels the same way sometimes. Like that might be one of my stumbling blocks, afraid to like really rise above. I think that is a block in me that I need to, it came up in my AFT. So I was very like, wow, I think I started crying, thinking like that I had like, wow, this is crazy how well AFT really works.
The best part about this business is that you get to meet so many new lovely people and lifetime friendships, whether they stay in Young Living or just product users or not. I mean, seriously, I've met some fabulous people downline, upline, crossline, whatever. And even some of them don't do really Young Living anymore, or maybe just they don't do it as a business and whatever. But I mean, I know I'll be friends with these people for the rest of my life. But at the same token, women can be very catty, and this business is mostly women. And that's to me, the unfortunate part of it, because I think we really should be here to encourage and help each other out with whatever it is. But there's so many egos that are involved. It's outrageous. But we truly have to not listen to that. And, if you're a believer in it, to me, it's just Satan trying to get us to not fulfill what the Lord has orchestrated for us in our path. So I really just don't want anyone to I don't want to have anyone be a stumbling block for me. And I need to move forward in my own life. Like back in the day, and of course this works great if you have a support team with your family and your friends and your kids and whatever. But all of us don't have that, and maybe they don't in the beginning, and then they change and they do. A lot of people want to see if we're really steadfast and going to keep doing what we said we're going to do and what we really believe in, because some people just do it for a minute and then they stop and they go find something else because it was too hard or whatever. You know what I mean? Obviously, everyone that knows me, family or friends, knows that I'm still here, and I will continue to be the same way. So I'm very steadfast in what I'm thinking. But back in the day, I don't know how old I was, I forgot, but I was going into the fire department, and it was the city of Los Angeles. And it was in the Minority Act, they had to have so many blacks and Mexicans and females, for their quota, right? When all that kind of stuff was going on. But I tell you what, if you wanted to be in the fire department, you had to have your head shaved, females also. You had to adhere to everything else a white male would have to do. And it was not easy. And out of 800 women, I was 8 of them that made it into that thing. But I can't tell you how many people told me I couldn't do it. Family, friends, a woman should never do this. You'll never be strong enough. And, and some of these things were strength things. And obviously I could never be as strong as a man. Because men, like even when my boys are growing up, I love to wrestle and horseplay and all that kind of stuff, right? So, they're like 15 and they literally look like toothpicks with, arms, legs, and a torso, right? But, boys, men just naturally have muscles. And I'd have to like pull all my mom power to try to beat them and then go in the room and rub some deep relief on or whatever because I was hurting, right? But some of these things are techniques. Everything we need to do in life is not with physical, strength. We need to use our brain and learn other ways to do things and how to play the game and how to be successful and how to have people not affect us in a negative way. And I know this is much easier said than done. I'm totally aware of this. But once again, once you recognize it, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, a day, don't let it go beyond that. So, Robin, we've known each other for a long time, and I obviously love you. And it's unfortunate that someone has made you feel that way. And I know there's people personally that I know in Young Living, and even in our area, who feel that way. If you get close to their rank, or they think you may pass them, or whatever the case is, I mean, they have a seriously hard time because, maybe that's like the midlife crisis and like they should be there first and whatever. But like, I don't care if anyone on my downline ranks above me at any time. Like, I would literally, honestly be happy for you because that's awesome. There's no, I don't care if someone ranks above me. I think that would be fantastic if that happened. And maybe I can go along with you and maybe I can't. But it's no skin off my back. It doesn't matter to me. But if it matters to you that you rank above someone else and that you're superior, if that's what your mindset is, I personally think that's a problem. And if it matters to you that someone's in your team ranking above you or even cross lines ranking above you, then I think that's a problem. Because we shouldn't be in the competition where then we're being selfish and not happy for somebody else. Because that's not going to do anything for us. And it's going to spill over into our business with how we sign up people or how we act towards people. And so I think, once again, love and compassion and caring for the person before us, whether it's a business team leader or a member brand new signing up, what is the intent of why we're helping them? And I think we should stay for that. So Robin, I would tell you, since I know you know Jesus, you should drop that like a hot potato and never think about that again for the rest of your life, and do not allow that to prevent you from moving forward. Because think about all the things that you could do. I know you and I are a lot alike, but think about all the things you could do. Even if you just wanted 20,000 boats, think about all the boats you could buy if you could get over yourself and what someone and your interpretation or even what someone may have said or not said to you, or what your own mindset is, because you don't think you're worthy of something. That doesn't line up with anything at all. So I have a friend who is very materialistic, and that's okay. That's her, and that's what she wants to be, and that's how she is, and whatever. Okay. So I'm not judging her for that. We're just opposites. Okay. And so what was presented to me back in the day, because that was my heart, because we always collect clothing and sleeping bags and whatever for the homeless and all these different things. So I was presented to me, it's like, do you know how many sleeping bags or jackets you could buy for people in need, especially in Michigan in the winter? I'm like, my light bulb went off. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, I'd rather make more money to do that than to pay off my debt. Which, now, if my husband's listening, he's gonna be annoyed with that. But that's my heart, to go do stuff like that, right? But the one lady, I said, she's like, well, I don't want to buy sleeping bags. I said, what do you like? And she said, I like fur coats. I said, well, I don't know how much a fur coat even costs, but how many fur coats could you buy if you made this much money a year? She's like, I could get like 10. I'm like, you could get one in every color animal. I don't know, whatever, right? So everyone's different for what fancies them, what suits them, what they want to do in life. I would love to pay off my parents' debts, my family's debts, people I know's debt. Wouldn't that just be a blessing? I don't know. I think it would. So, what are you doing things for? What is your why? And you got to really figure out what that is for you and write that down. My first why is to pay off debt, because even though it's a stressor to me, it's a much more extreme stressor to my husband. And it would just be a blessing to see him not to have to worry about that, and just have financial freedom to go do what you want to do. That would just be amazing. I don't even know what that's like, because we haven't had that our entire married life with children. So we would like to get back there before we had children. I don't know how children make that happen. Not that it's all my children's fault, but it just happens. So thank you for being vulnerable, Robin, and saying that. Not too long ago, I had a cross-line leader. We're at a big event for Young Living, and she said, aren't you ashamed for teaching about health and nutrition at your size? And to be honest with you, I almost shit when she said it, because she said it right in my face. I appreciate her honesty, though. I do. And I'm sorry, I said a bad word. And then, and I said, well, you never can read a book by its cover, because you don't always know why and what's going on. And I'm not making excuses for my size, but I know when I'm teaching about chemicals, I know what I'm talking about. And I definitely know what I'm talking about when it comes to oils and how to help people guide them in the right direction, or let them know there's other opportunities. And it would look much better if I looked the part of this, bodybuilder, slim, cute, no gray hair, whatever, but it is not what it is. But I still know what I know, and what I do know can help somebody. So I said, I'm sorry you feel that way, but that's your problem, not my problem. And that's exactly what I said, with a lovely smile. And, we both parted, and that was that. So I'd rather have her come to me in my face and say that than to talk crap behind my back, right? So I can appreciate that, but hopefully she learned something from it, in the sense of, there's a lot of skinny people out there who are really sick, ill, and diseased, and messed up in the head. So I'd rather be overweight and not messed up in the head, I guess. I don't know. So there's that. Okay, who else has got something? Today's Get Rid of Problem Day. If Amanda was here, she would start calling on people's names, but I don't want to do that. I hate when that happens to me. Okay. Let's see. Anyone? There's something in the chat that Tammy posted that she listens to on a regular basis to help herself move forward. I think that's what I'm getting out of this. I love Jim Rowan. Oh my gosh, she's an awesome teacher. Hey Tammy, there you go. Say something.
Hey. Sorry, we're trying to have family time, so I'm listening in while we're also doing family stuff. So the recording that I posted is Jim Rohn, and it specifically came to me to share that whenever you were talking about your why and about the whole sleeping bags, because that recording is only 20 minutes long. So you can listen to that when you're on your morning walk, or, when you're in the car, just 20 minutes. But if you listen to it every day, it's going to really get in you. And he talks about your goals and dreams become magnetic. They become the ULA inflators that get you through those times when you are struggling, when you're facing the obstacles, when you've got difficulties, when your company is in a slump and you are just not having the enrollments or the volume or, the momentum that you are working so hard to get. Those goals and dreams carry you through that time so that you can get over to the other side. So whatever it is, whether it's Jim Rohn you like to listen to or somebody else, find those things and put them in a playlist on YouTube. This was one of the things I learned from Skyla Mann when I was doing some coaching with her. She said, create a motivational playlist on YouTube and drop everything in there, whether it's songs or motivational recordings from different speakers or whatever, drop them in there. And then every morning, just spend some time, whether it's 15 or 20 minutes, turn that on, get yourself going. And I love that. So I've got like 4 motivational playlists now. I have one that's just music. I have one that's inspired by the Coopers, and it's called Bob in the Morning, and it's Bob Proctor, like all of these different different ones that I found of his that just really speak to me. And so every morning, whether I'm folding laundry or whatever it is I have to do right at the beginning of the day, I've got that turned on, and I'm getting some really good wisdom poured into me. And, you can choose your mentors. Your mentors don't have to be people who are alive today. They can be people, that anyone who has a recording, video, audio, a book that somebody has written. When you read or when you listen, it's like you are spending time with those people. So I choose my mentors very carefully. And Bob Proctor, even though I'm not paying for his coaching, he's one of my mentors. He's teaching me daily because he's got a ton of YouTube videos, and I could just go on there and listen over and over again. Same thing with Jim Rohn. I go on my walk in the morning. Jim Rohn is whispering in my ear the whole time because I've got my at least one earbud in while I'm walking, and I'm listening to him, and he's telling me I can do it. I can make it. I am strong. I've got wisdom, to solve problems. My people are my focus. So, just grabbing a hold of that and taking that with you every day just makes a huge difference. You don't have to wait for Amanda to post a mindset shift post. You go out there and find your own information and let it speak to you. So that's my soapbox for the day.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have any thoughts or comments of any sort? It's okay, whatever it is. Okay, then I'm going to share the screen real quick. I know you guys saw a minute ago, but let me get back here. This is something that moving forward, we're looking at creating, which we've talked about before. I'm not sure if you've heard it or not, but this is the Facebook page. We're going to be doing a poll to see what we think about names. We really wanted friends and family of team transformation, but that's like so long. And then a virtually oily handout or a classroom or something. So the concept behind this is that obviously team transformation is set up where you have to be a current member to be in this group. And so we're trying to create a group page that would, a closed group page that you and your family or friends that are not a member yet can come in here for weekly classes, like everyday oil kit, just whatever the class is going to be, but a weekly class, so they can learn more about Young Living, and prayerfully want to sign up with you, right? So we have a question. I don't know how to get here, but we have a questionnaire section that's don't quote me right. The second one was like, are you currently a member of Young Living? Who invited you to this group? There's like 4 questions, okay, to get to them. And it says in here that, you are to, sign up with who invited you to this group and all that kind of stuff, right? Not that we can mandate everything, of course, but, the point is that you're signing in with your friends and your family who want to know about this. When they sign up, they get to go into team transformation, and just having a group public place where people can learn about the products, and with mostly anyone, but anyone can teach in here, but Amanda will be teaching how she teaches like the one-on-one classes. So there'll be like little gifts and prizes and whatever, but this is like the logo right here we're going to use, and we're trying to figure out the name. So once again, we're going to have a poll where you guys can put in there, and we'll just do the, whatever the majority rules here, I guess. Thank you, Jennifer. Have a good night. Okay, so that's something that's coming up. So I just wanted to let you know about that, and you'll see it being posted soon. We wanted to try to do the first class next Thursday. So we're trying to get everything done And so hopefully tomorrow you'll see a poll with names on there, and just let us know what you think, and that will be awesome. Okay, let me go to manage here. So I just unmuted everyone. Does anyone have any other thoughts or questions about that real quick?
I'm excited about it.
Great. So am I personally.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So it doesn't matter what city or state someone's in. Obviously, someone can go in there, and once again, with the questions that are being asked of them, we'll definitely have a awareness of who invited the person to this group, so that there shouldn't be any fishy business, right? But at the same time, you know, making sure that your person knows as well that, you know, hey, when you're ready, here's my member number. So that's exciting. Okay, well, I appreciate you guys. I know we're all in different time zones, and some of us have light and some don't, but I appreciate you spending your time tonight, and I hope something that I've said has been helpful with you just moving forward in life, whether it's with business or personal. And just to make sure, if I've ever done something to offend any of you, or you think I'm harsh in some way or whatever, please feel free to let me know so I can address it in the way that I need to, because I'm all into that. And I hope you guys just all have a blessed night, and thank you so much. Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night, sis.
Thank you.